one of the things that I modified on this machine myself is the spoil board. I replaced the MDF board with a plastic. The MDF board didn't stand up to the liquid that I use when I cut the aluminum. I use water soluble oil when I cut this aluminum in a mist, and MDF doesn't like that. It swells up and gets all nasty. So I put this plastic on there, and I've had zero problems with any movement in the Z height, because that would, as the board would swell, of course that'd pull the plate and do all kind of funny shit to it. So we got rid of that and no problem. So that's what we did. Okay, so I'm going to set this plate up in there square, or as square and true as I can get it. And I'll use the machine to square it. So I got to change this bit out. So I try to get this thing right on that corner. So the machine's zeroed. So this is absolute zero. And I want to try to get this corner as close to zero as I can. And get that center of that bit right on the corner. Okay, so that corner. And then we'll run it down. Okay. Pretty damn close. All right. So I'll put a clamp on it. We're just doing it by eyeball. Now I will fly cut the top of this, so it's going to be perfectly flat when I get before we start. And that's pretty well, that's pretty much dead nuts. So, tuck that clap down, we'll put another one back. Now I can come back in here and drill my alignment holes, because I've got on the back side of these, you can see I've got dowel pins, and once I line that up with that corner and that edge being true to the machine, I'll put those dowel pins in, and this plate will go back exactly where I set it up at. We're set up now to drill the hole down holes, and I've got my letter size drill bit in there. The plate's good and square and lined up and clamped down, and I've got my frog buster system set up to lubricate and cool my tool, and it's just a Venturi type mister that runs air through one of these tubes, and it sucks out the water soluble oil on the other side and mists it on the bit. So I'm going to get this thing set up, and we're going to drill some holes. Show you how to write a simple tool path here. I need to pocket this hole for that hole down screw, so that the top of the screw needs to sit below the surface of that fixture plate. So we're going to pocket that and cut it. So I just want this thing to spiral down in, and one pass. Down to 300 thousandths. And we're going to calculate that. Cut depth is 300 thousandths of an inch, 1/4 inch end mill, and it's called a ramp. So it's just that easy. Click, save tool path. I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again. So now I got to bolt this down these T-rails. And now I can take clamps off. All right, so now we got to drill holes for our hold downs for the handles. So I selected that first row. I'm gonna go up here and click the drilling tool path, and we're already on the 1/4 inch bit, 7/8 depth, so it'll pierce through. And we're gonna peck drill. I'm gonna go 1/8 of an inch above the last starting point, and it'll go 1/4 of an inch deep each time. And that's the warning that it'll go through because our plate's only 3/4 of an inch thick and we're drilling to 7/8. Now there it is. Save tool path. Row 1. Row 1. Save. Got all the holes drilled, so now I have to surface the plate. So what I'll do is I'll cut, we'll start with 5/1000. We'll cut 5/1000 off the top of it to try to get it perfectly flat. And if that doesn't do it, we'll go back and take another 5/1000 until we get this thing to where it's exactly flat and true with the rest of the machine. So we got the plate flat, and next step, I need to deburr it because it will leave a pretty nasty burr on the edges. I got my little deburring tool here, so you just run that down and deburr it. And just like that, there you go. So the next step we got to do is we have to cut a relief around each one of these handles so the cutter has a place to go below the surface of the fixture plate so it can cut the handle out. So that's next. So the next thing we need to discuss is set points, 0 points. The machine 0 is right on that corner, right there. So the center of that bit lines up with that the very center of that corner. And the reason I did that was just so it's easy enough to bring everything back to true 0. That 1/4 inch hole is an offset. So if the machine crashes, I can check the plate 0 by lowering the 1/4 inch end mill into that hole, and then I know that everything's where it needs to be. And the reason I do this is because we don't live in a perfect world. In a perfect world, this plate would never move, and that head would be absolutely true. And I do this for all the reasons that maybe I can't think about, is to have a 0 point that's not actually the 0, because this is the limit of the machine, and here I've got a 1/4 of an inch that I can bump it either way. So I'm still playing with the settings on this. I changed programs. I upgraded to this Aspire instead of the V-Carve so I could manipulate my 3D modeling. And when I'm working up a test and trying to get stuff dialed in, I'll put as much information in the title here as I can. So I'm running 45 thousandths deep at 5 inches a minute with a 2-inch IPM plunge. So I know where this one was. And then when I go to do my toolpath for real, I'll also put that information in the title, so I know without having to open it what it is. The fixture plate is pretty much done here. The thing I've got left to do is put these inserts in. There's this little threaded insert knurled on the end, and they go down in that hole. And that's how I'll hold the handles down. And I just drive them into the hole with a hammer. And we done. So that's how you make a plate. And in the next video, we are going to do handles. So that's it for this time. See you later. Bye. All right, that's it, boy. We're gone.